Hello! We're live again.
Again.
Yes,
live?
we are live.
Woo!
And we should probably ask the audience, if you hear any technical issues, please let us know really early on, because that seems to be the trend in this kind of podcasts.
Yeah, but one day we'll get it right.
Good to see you again, guys.
You could be the television Christmas host that we have in Sweden.
Yeah.
You know, they light a little candle and they speak on Christmas. And you really got me into Christmas.
You know it.
Feeling now.
You know it. You think I should apply?
It's really nice to see you guys again, to be honest.
Indeed.
Yeah. And we should...
it wasn't too long ago. And that's great.
No, we are actually starting a new trend. We're trying to do this every now and then instead of every once a year or every 100 day or what it was the last time we went live.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago, something. Yeah, it's good to be on the streak again. But I guess this is the last pod before Christmas, at least. So yeah.
And should we just start with the...
We have a lot of cheers in the chat. I see that. A lot of cheers.
We need to...
Cheers
or chairs.
And it sounds great as well.
Oh,
that's good.
It sounds great. That is good. Even Matthias and Robert is good. Come on, where is your beer, Robert? Find it.
Oh, hello. Hang on.
Yes. Yeah, we are hanging on.
And the
Don't
video
be alone too much out there.
And the video today is sponsored by my new sponsor, Benediktiner Weissbier.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Nice sponsor there.
Yes. I'm looking for a cigarette sponsor also. So then no, I'm not.
Shut up!
Then you're good.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, guys. Good to see you. Good to see you all in the chat as well.
This is a good one.
I actually...
a bit small glass.
I got a lot of... how to say it? I got a lot of bashing from a follower on one of my videos because I was always drinking so much Jack Daniels. And he asked me if I shouldn't try any other Kentucky straight bourbon that was better. So today it is Jim Beam. All right. That's today's sponsor in Norway. Oh, I don't think it's allowed to advertise for alcoholic beverages.
That's when we're monetized on this channel. Then we have to be careful.
Okay.
But now it's...
Then we can just fuck it. But before we go on, just a short list I've written down for everyone. Today is a request video from one of you guys. You asked us about how it is to travel on adventures alone and how that can affect you in both a positive and a negative way. And we all have some insight in that, so we will share with you. We will also talk briefly about what's happening next year with all three channels and together as well. And in this channel and the podcasting, how we will go forward. Our goal is, of course, to be better than Tamp podcast in the UK, but that is a different story.
Yeah, good luck.
Of course.
Yeah.
On the side note of being alone, we will also dip a little bit into what is going on with Robert lately. Many of you have probably already guessed or seen it online that he has gone, how to say it, solo?
Insane.
Yeah, he's gone insane.
Yeah.
So, and we will touch a little bit about that.
Solo.
And so that is today's show and what we're going to talk about. And feel free to open with... your experience, guys. Should we start off with how it is to travel alone?
Absolutely. I can start that one because there was, and I got a message from a follower or email or something, and I brought that up with you guys, and we thought it would be a great episode to talk about because it's quite common, I think. And he said that he's been watching all these YouTubers out there doing solo, everything from Runa and Ichi and all these guys going on their adventures solo, exploring the world. So he did that. He just went away, not on a super big adventure, but let's say just for a couple of weeks. But he got 2 or 3 days away from home, and he couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. He turned back, and he tried that. I think it was twice, and it just doesn't work. And
do you know where it was?
Where?
Yeah. Which country was this? Do you know?
Yeah, it was a Swedish guy.
Yeah, okay. So here in Scandinavia.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and perhaps, I mean, especially if you go in Sweden, it's quite easy to find yourself totally alone, and there's deep in the forests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Norway, you only it's full of influencers and Instagrammers everywhere.
A lot of tourist spots.
So
definitely.
So something happens. I think anyone, even though you enjoy it or not, but something happens after 2-3 days on the road when you're solo. I think you said something about that, Matthias.
Yeah, actually, I have been talking to people with this on the trail, and that's not specifically adventure riding. Actually, when I have been trail hiking with a backpack in the deep forest, and it takes longer time to get to civilization, so to speak, and you can really feel alone and so on. And I met some Dutch people solo hiking that are given up. Second day, afraid of bears, afraid of the dark forest and the silence. They come from countries that are very dense populated and so on. So I could imagine that they have a different experience compared to many of us up here. So I used to say, because I experienced the same thing actually in the forest or when I'm riding solo. I used to call it the 3-day rule, actually.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be 3-day, but I call it the 3-day rule because we are different. But the thing is, when you're leaving home, you could feel some guilt to those who are leaving behind, your kids, your wife, and so on. You could also feel the happiness just when you throttle on to, I'm on the adventure. But that also get into you get some thoughts of those at home, so to speak. And then you also, it depends also on weather, I would say. If it's cold or rainy, then you get also into feelings, like why I'm doing this. If you can't make a campfire and have it cozy, it doesn't really get into your mind in what you've been thinking about riding solo, everything perfect and so on. So the 3-day rule, I say, don't give up, and then you get into more adapting into yourself, your own thoughts, and you get rid of all this anxiety and so on. That we could develop about this. So what do you say about that?
I think that is a good point as well, because a lot of people, as at least for my sake, it's not that I'm too afraid of the dark, but I am a little bit afraid of the demons that is troubling me. And just recently I've been quite open about having problems with PTSD. I think it's the name for it in English. And I've had some intense nightmares when I'm going on the trails. And of course, having anxiety attacks and feeling the responsibilities at home and the commitments home. And part of my motorcycle journey has been about releasing stress or get away from the stress and the main things that going on at home. And you always hear the jokes about you don't see a motorcycle parked outside the therapist office, and that is actually a really good analogy, but still it is also a way to run away from your fears or run away from your issues or trouble or what may be haunting you. And I had a interesting talk with Kuhn on Mangwood Inn when we were with the Moscow meetup and whatnot. He's told me that all adventure riders are either running away from something or running towards something. And that kind of resonates with me as well. And
definitely.
I think it's it's I do think one of the biggest issues with this is that you let other people dictate for you what an adventure is. I have so many comments where people kind of go at me for sleeping at the side of the road, or sleeping just on a, not going wild camping enough, or picking a camping spot, or doing stuff that are not in their eyes adventurous enough. And for me, it can be.
But this is interesting.
I think it's really interesting, because nobody should dictate to you towards what it is. I have friends who came home from the war. I have friends who are in the police force, the health system and whatnot. And everybody has some sort of trauma that they need to cope with. And it's not always just about being afraid for being alone or afraid of the dark. It's more about, can I handle my demons alone in this silence or whatnot? Yeah. So I think it's a really complex.
That was pretty much my question here, Shumi. You're talking about the demons. Is that something that develops when you are alone on a very rural space, so to speak, deep in the forest, or do you even get it at camping spots?
No, I get it everywhere. It doesn't matter if I'm in a camp spot or not, because but I feel a little bit more secure or safe in a way, because at least for me, it has been like I'm kind of I have a coping mechanism that doesn't work as well anymore, and I find that I can wake up in the middle of the night pumped full of adrenaline, because my fight and flight system doesn't work correctly because of issues I experienced at work. And if you are alone in the forest and you have a lot of noises that are a little bit unfamiliar or whatnot, you can kind of, that part from getting to the highs and relaxing again before you go to sleep can take a longer time compared to if you are in a campsite. But for me, it's not about being afraid of the dark or being afraid of being alone, because I actually enjoy the solitude. I'm not sure if it's a family thing or something I grew up with, but seeking to nature and seeking back to, I've experienced some noises and some stuff around in the world that makes me question about religion and question about ghosts and whatnot. But I do think that I never felt somebody tried to scare me or hurt me. It's more like something going on, and it's never been scary. I think,
okay, sorry.
No, and it's never been scary. It's a bit more like, I do imagine people, if there are people out there, I do imagine that they are more scared of meeting me in the dark than I am scared of meeting them in the dark. But I can see the problem that many people just feel like, I'm going here alone. I feel like the noises are bad, the weather is bad, it's cold, it's miserable. I can't sleep correctly because it's not my home bed. There are so many things you can dip into, and I think it's a part of, you need to learn to appreciate the solitude of going on solo travels, in a way.
Yeah, I think
I have a question to both of you guys. What do you prefer how to ride? Is it solo or in a team?
It's two completely different ways, but I'm a bit like Thomas. I am an introvert. I sing and dance on YouTube, of course, but I do enjoy being alone. But I haven't been on multi-week solo trip. When I've gone for longer stretches, I've always been in a group. So I don't know really how I would react, but I think I will enjoy it, and I'm quite keen on trying it out. But there's so many things happening with the schedule, with all these people and rides and everything. So I hardly get the chance, but I actually look forward to it. And you spoke of the 3-day rule there. And I think that's 2 or 3 or something. When you go away, you're still sort of a bit connected to home the first 2-3 days. And after the 3rd day, the sort of safety wire gets unhooked in a way, then you're really on your way, sort of
adapt to the journey.
Yeah, and then you're sort of really away because you always the first 2-3 days have sort of you haven't mentally or physically really left home that much yet. So and then I think that's the tipping point. Either you start really relaxing and enjoying the solitude, or you don't like it. Then you sort of
it's not for everyone. That's absolutely
but it
true
also
as well.
Depends on,
but it should be,
but it also depends on if you have really planned your trip. It's much easier to feel committed to certain patterns through the day, or getting from A to B in a certain distance every day. So it's much easier sometimes to keep on going because you have a longer plan. If you kind of just jump on your bike and see where the adventure takes you without a plan, without a structure, it can be much easier to just fall on them because of the weather change, or you don't feel good. And I think for me personally, I really like traveling alone because I have I really don't like people, to be honest. I've always been a fan of, because I'm always around people. I'm a social human being, and I have family and I have whatnot. And my free time has always been about me getting away alone, spending time only on myself, a kind of like a ego thing. And I think that because I have my camera, I always have a friend with me in that. So I can't, because I spend so much time on video and photography and that thing, it's kind of a lot harder for other people to withstand traveling with me. So I found the solitude and learned my own way of traveling alone in that regard, because then I know I can focus on what is most important for me on the trips. But then we went to Sweden, and I went on a trip with you guys and the Moscow team, and the things we did together there kind of changed my perspective on how it can be to ride in a group ride. So I think I'm not, even if I'm traveled a lot alone, I think that has changed something in me the recent years, because it's a difference between riding in a group or riding with true honest friends. That's a huge difference. It can't compare, because what I see in you guys, the same the same passion, the same obligation to video work and trying to be together and do something great for others, makes me see group riding as a much bigger thing than it has been for me earlier.
Yeah, I have a few
interesting
questions actually from the chat. Slash Minion asking, how are you currently doing with the nightmare stuff? Is it sort of getting better? Is it manageable, or what? How's the curve? Where are you in the?
Oh, it can vary a lot from day to day, to be honest. It's in the beginning it was more about how to say it. It was more about nightmares where I died or somebody else was responsible for me dying. So it was kind of a life and death situation thing. But and then it's been fine for a couple of weeks, and it was not that bad. But now the recent weeks, it's been really intense with other people dying and are molested, and me needing to how to say it,
rescue
and save and stand next to it. And like the other night I dreamt of a guy who had fallen down from a building quite high, and it was quite a mess, and we were outside. We couldn't go in, start the work, so we were just observing that stuff for quite some time, and I couldn't wake from it. So when I finally did, I need to change my bed and everything. I was sweating like a pig, and everything was just really horrible. So it's gone from being not so bad into becoming much more graphical and intense. So it fluctuates a lot. Some days can be really good, and some days can be really hard. And of course, as many people know, getting good night's sleep is probably one of the most important things you can have. And so it's been difficult some days.
Yeah. But yeah, you're working on it with professional help and things like that.
I have a how to say it, professional psychologist through work who is specialized on traumas through that kind of stuff, and I go also to my doctors, and those are both working together with me to find out the correct answers. Or
next question or comment, but I think we can expand on it. That when from Wikström's ADV, when I'm alone, I just remembered LL Cool J there. When I'm alone in my room, and when I'm alone in my rides, I feel at peace and safe. But sometimes I miss someone to talk about, for example, today's ride and things like that. So we do enjoy, the three of us, we enjoy solo rides. But do you recognize yourself? I can answer myself first that, I do enjoy it, but then sometimes it's really hard not to take up the mobile phone and just send a image to someone just to share that where I am and something like that, just to have
we are very digitalized today.
What about you, Matthias?
I really enjoy to go on solo trips. Actually, I like to be in social trips as well, very much, because I laugh so much and have so fun with friends and so on. But to go, what happens when you're riding solo, that you get deeper into yourself. You rinse your thought for the everyday thoughts, and you go into your own mind and your own kind of thoughts. And as Wikström told, he feels safe in the woods. I do it as well, because I have been in the woods since I was a kid, alone. So for me, it's very natural. I really enjoy it and never feel unsafe, never ever. But that would say you will always go for your gut feels. If the place doesn't feel safe or anything that bothers you, you should probably listen to it in some way. The things we were talking about having someone to talk about at the evening. It's funny that Wikström says it, because he's using a camera as well as we three do, and others. When I wasn't really comfortable with the camera several years ago, I tended to start to talk to the camera as a friend at the evenings. So I rinsed myself from my thoughts about the trip and so on in the camera,
like a confession,
and so on. And it is like talking to a friend in some way, and that is something you learn.
Then that's actually tying into the next question there. That since we're all filmmakers, isn't that a great distraction to prevent anxiety and so on? Since we're making these videos and thinking about the story and the angles and stuff like that. I think you said something about that.
It is both a distraction from the adventure, and it is also something that helps from anxiety, of course, because you're up into something all the time and thoughts in how to make these pictures together.
I think it's really depend on what type of anxiety you have and what your issues might be, because at least for my sake, it's kind of crazy, because you are fine until you are not fine, and you can't see the red flags, and you start to we all have a mind of ourselves that we're trying to to structure. If we wake up in the night with night sweats, we don't have nightmares, we don't have anything, but we do have night sweats. What do that come from? It's really easy to kind of bagatelize, how to simplify the issues that might be, because you don't feel sick or you don't feel bad or whatnot. But I do think that a camera, a friend, or just a way of occupy your mind, kind of work towards it. It's almost like we do it at work for me as well. When the alarm goes, you know that this is going to be heavy. You know what you're going out to, but still you are so focused on the work you are going to do and all the tasks you need to do to kind of resolve the issue. So you kind of forget a lot of the impressions. And I think the camera also can do that for you because you have that friend to talk to. But like you said a little bit earlier, Matthias, about the Wikström's question, when you come to a place, sometimes I'm standing on the top of a mountain and just admire the view or something that really resonates with me. And it's just like I try to turn to the side and look around and there's nobody to share that with. Even the camera, even if I put up the camera, it can't justify the scene or something I see. And then I just stand there alone watching it. And sometimes I really wished I had somebody to share that with. But then I jump on a bike and start going again, and then I'm just happy. I don't need to slow down or go faster because another one is dictate the speed of what I'm riding or whatnot. So it's ups and downs.
I think that's interesting to me, actually, that let's say you are there on the most majestic view that you've ever seen and you're taking all that in. I mean, technically, what does it mean to share that with someone? Why do I need to do that? That does not amplify what I see. It just sort of, I'm saying that we all want to share it with someone, but really, why? But
yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. But I think it's just doubles up your experience to share it with someone, I think. So because simply if you go on a social trip with your friends, you talk for hours about what you have experienced during the day. So I think it's natural. Yeah. But I have a second rule as well. Not only this 3-day rule. I have a second rule as well that is very true. I think most hikers and backpackers know about it. And that is, if you travel alone, you never need to be alone.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot easier to interact with people when you're alone, or if compared to when you come in a group or as a couple. So that's also an interesting question about this with solo traveling, that it actually opens up for social.
Yeah, you open up in a completely different way. It's like, and do also see that if 2 or 3 people that are used to travel alone meet other people that travel alone, they open up for that guy in a completely different way than people that are used to going in groups. Yeah. So I do think that solo riders do appreciate how it is to join in when you are alone, coming in camp and get included to a meal or just a talk or a place around a bonfire with a beer. And it's you open up for so many special occasions when you ride alone. You are so much more on the giving side. And I think that is probably why many or somebody of us prefer to ride alone as well, because we are more givers than we are receivers, if that makes sense. We are more passionate about sharing or that other people should learn or do better stuff than we are that we need to get everything ourselves.
Yeah, your lonely appearance just opens up for interactions. Yeah. People ask more than if you come as a couple or with Without friends.
Yeah, as I haven't done it that long on motorcycle, but as a young stallion, I traveled Australia for 3 months on my own. So I booked a ticket there and backpacked around, and I had so much fun. Was never alone, and people who travel alone, it's sort of, when you're in a group, you have to sort of be friends for the whole trip, and you don't want to ruin that. But traveling alone, but still meeting up with a lot of people along the way, you have that freedom to, eject whenever you want. And
But you, Robert, are the one who are most experienced with riding on group rides. To be honest, Matthias is also quite familiar with that on his Brap crazy stuff on the forest. But you, Robert, has kind of made a point out of riding in groups with your old channel. We get back to that more afterward. But do you have anything you would say would be negative about riding in groups? Is there any pointers you could give about why you shouldn't go in groups?
We were a group of 4, and I mean, as the channel grows, and we get so many requests, and can I join you, and so on, and those are people that you don't know, because it's quite important that it's not important that you always get along 100% of the time when you're riding in a group, but so you can have different preferences, and I want to go there and so on. But you need to have, everyone in the group needs to have sort of a brush it off attitude where that it's not, you want to do that, sure, go that, we can do that today, we do my thing tomorrow or whatever, and just don't make a big thing about I need to do my stuff. You have to be really
you can't be an egotistical person. You need to be much more flexible,
more open-minded.
So it's okay to because in a group it's impossible for everyone to think the same all the time. And
you need to be ready to compromise more about things, but on another end, you could experience something that you never thought about. So it's in both ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to sacrifice maybe something and win something else.
So I mean, so don't go looking for people that you think thinks exactly like you. It's more the sort of compromise willingness and no big deal attitude that is most important.
But I do think it's also a really interesting, because when you say this, it's kind of my mind starts spinning, and I start to get some messages I have gotten in the recent years from people that appreciate what I do and whatnot, and trying to share their story through Messenger or emails and whatnot. And I do find that a lot of people are living in solitude, not by choice, but because they are probably too scared of making friends, or they don't get any friends, or they can't feel at home with the people they get to know, or they have been treated bad with other groups for so many times that they just skip it altogether. And if you are kind of looking too hard, it's almost like when you are out on town, if you're really looking for a girlfriend, you won't find it. But when you stop looking for love, all of a sudden the perfect girl shows up. And I think it's like that with some friends as well, and riding in groups. If you are really desperate and looking for groups to ride in, you're not necessarily in the right group. The natural groups kind of develop through mutual respect, mutual interest, and it's a flowing thing. And of course, it's really important to have honest and deep respect for each other. And like you say, if it's not me today, we take me tomorrow. It's your turn to have your go, and then you kind of find out how the trip will go.
Then I think.
How do you feel about if? Go on, Rob.
Yeah, just short. Riding skills does not have to be exactly the same, but it helps.
Yeah.
If you're sort of approximately in the same level. Because if you go with 2 really experienced guys, they want to do some technical stuff at some point and so on, and that could be sort of a group pressure thing. The beginners want to be able to do it. It could go wrong. So it's good if
but it's a way to develop as well. So because in a real and honest group ride, then you help each other over the obstacles.
As long as everyone is
teamwork.
You just need to know the team really well. I think to go. So, you were.
If we're going back to be alone in the deep forest, for example, any pro tips to feel more comfort in the woods when you're hanging in your hammock or sleeping in your tent? I have some tips that is very handy.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I could start with. I have a lot of experience from hunting, as you know, some of you as well. So have been a lot in the dark, early mornings or late evenings, unfortunately as well.
With
so
a
I'm
gun.
pretty used to with a gun that could feel you safe, but I'm pretty used to sounds of animals or the forest during the dark hours. So I'm not really inconvenient with that, but it happens when you're sleeping in your hammock, for example, or tent, and you hear someone moving around you, and it could be large or it could be small. Even the smallest thing could actually sounds like a bear in the darkness, even the mouse. Have you heard anything cool and reacted on it?
Oh yeah.
I will have a tip later that could be
but
good to
yeah,
have.
I do think that is a good point as well, because I like in some of my videos I always say to people that you can camp next to a water or a stream, but when you go to bed, as soon as you take down that zip fly and you go to bed, all sounds are enhanced for 10 times as big. It's kind of like, it's crazy. That stream that you almost didn't hear, that becomes 10 times as strong when you go to sleep. And I think it's like that with animals as well.
Yeah.
And like me, I'm used to being on, or not used to, I did a lot of hunting when I was younger, but I've still always been outside in the outdoor environment. And I think it has a lot to do with feeling safe in the environment you're living in. So for example, in Norway, I know which animals that are scary and what couldn't hurt you and what is not scary at all. And if you have a irrational fear of spiders or bears, or there are people that are afraid of polar bears and I think they're going to meet them in Norway. So it's not rational. And I do think if you educate yourself in the country you are traveling, try to find out which animals can hurt you, which one is dangerous, and which one will probably be shit scared of you. Then you have a better understanding of the environment you're sleeping in, and it will kind of relax you a little bit. But for me, it's putting up a bonfire, hear the crackling sound from the bonfire, and the light from the bonfire can be really soothing. And of course, taking a sip of whiskey or two right before you go to bed. A lot of people say if you struggle with nightmares, you shouldn't drink. But
I
think another
that's
thing
very good.
Also,
a bonfire and smoke from that is really good.
It depends also. You don't have to train only yourself in being away, but train your family at home. I mean, if you have a wife and kids at home, I have, but my kids are now quite grown up, so on. So I went away for 2 weeks, and my first adventure trip up north, and that was sort of a bit uneasy for me because I just came from family life where I was there all the time, and 3 kids that I have, and you're sort of needed, and they grow up, you're not needed as much, but going away for 2 weeks solo, still have that connection, but and you get messages from them. But then I went on next year, the year after, I went 3 weeks, and then I went 5 weeks, and nowadays they know that Robert's gone for a couple of weeks. He'll be back, and then we can eat properly again. So I'm the cook at home. So
I see a question here that is really interesting as well. Oh, sorry.
Just
continue
to complete that one, because when I know that I'm not that, they're not so eager. I mean, they're not chasing me. They know I'm away. I will be back. That also relaxes me now. That it's okay to be gone, and I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one to start with to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
We have a question here as well that is pretty interesting. Riding solo. It's from Runa, I think. No.
Hello, Runa.
She asked for if you ever have experience with meeting other riders that inviting themselves to the ride and how we deal with that.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time.
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Is it Runa, like our Runa?
Yeah, I have to agree.
That is asking the question?
It's our Runa, yes.
Okay, then we need to take it seriously. But yeah, no, that is actually a problem, because you always have some people that are not, or are really socially awkward, or don't have the antennas on the right spot, so they don't see that they can be a burden or intrude in your trip. So they always try to invite yourself to be a part of your trip, and they forget about why you are on a trip. I'm not on a trip to please you. I'm on a trip for myself. And if you try to invite yourself into my trip, it becomes a little bit rude. So it's fair if you want to ask, oh, can I join you for a day? Or does it fit your schedule if I could ride along with you for some part or some time, or wait for yourself to be invited? But to invite yourself or include yourself into something, that's a no-go.
Yeah. Are we talking about during a trip? Because Runa is going on long trips alone, and then someone invites themselves during that trip. Because that never happened.
I interpreted it like that.
Yeah, that never happened to me, but they invite themselves before the trip. Oh yeah, I'm free that weekend also. I can join you.
Yeah.
But that's easier, of course, to say no to, because you can invent whatever. But if you're sort of camping at a location and there's someone else there that you sort of talk and spend the night with, and we can go together there, and I can come along with you. That's a much tougher situation, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit rude to...
I think this is really interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, because I've been into this as well on the road. And I need to answer, it depends.
Yeah, it do, yeah.
Mostly, I don't really appreciate it. But sometimes if you meet someone when you camp at night, and they're interesting, and they have an interesting some trip to or something, a POI to look at, or something like that, I could join for a while. So I have done that as well. I could really enjoy it, but I do not really like people that jump onto you. And I can also relate to, because I feel some discomfort with it, but I can also relate what you're saying, Rob, people who are inviting themselves in advance and so on. I think it's, first, I feel somewhat... I don't really find the word for it, but when people want to do it with you, that's a beautiful thing. It's itself, but it doesn't really always fit into your plan, so to speak. Yeah, it's a compliment. Yeah, but it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't fit into your plans and so on. And people have to respect it. And the only thing you could do is be more like you, Shumi or Thomas, very, very direct, frankly, to just say, I'm going to do this, and my mission is to be alone.
There is some positive things about being outspoken, and that is, if people, when I feel people need to fuck off, I say it to their face, fuck off, it's not happening. And they kind of accept it, because they, oh, you say that, it's kind of like, but if you try to smudge it or pack it in, it's kind of like, have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't pack it in. Tell them what your plans are, and I think that people definitely respect it. If they don't, it's very inconvenient, and then you need to be maybe a little bit more aggressive in your answers.
Yeah, but I think I would say, let's say I'm there, I'm having a really good time around the campfire with someone I met at just at that location. We're camping. And tomorrow, we pack up, and I have my destination. And that person says, "I'm going that way too. Why don't we ride together?" And so on. And if I don't want that, I mean, I think I would say that no, it's important to me. This is a solo ride, and I want it to be a solo ride. Yeah. No offense, but. I really need this to be a solo ride, because that's what I want.
But do you think it's
I have
more
another
awkward?
take on this?
Yeah.
I have one more take on this that we need to speak about as well. At least for me, when you get into the second week and as well the third week of traveling alone.
Are you talking about changing underwear?
That is the time when the girl in the gas station is starting to look good, isn't it?
Definitely. They're starting to look really good.
Yeah.
No matter what. But that's one thing. And okay, we can take the funny thing left because that's something of protection for the human. But I get into a feeling that I don't really want to turn home.
Yeah.
If I already turned the second week or third week and on my way home, I feel a little bit, because most often I got into the real comfort zone. I'm really loving to be alone. I get through my therapy to be alone. I'm really enjoying it. You know, you have also passed that thing when you start to singing in your helmet and start to talk to yourself, because that is something protective for the human when you're alone.
That's sort of the inverted problem than we started with. The problem with staying out, but you have the problem
but it's
with
also connected to the third day rule.
Yeah,
when you're there's then you're really comfort with it.
There are two songs that really shines in my helmet, and then the starting of the song is the moment I wake up before I put on my makeup. That is really popular.
I say a little bit for you.
And there's a song, a children's song.
Sing it for me. I don't really get it.
Well, you know, Captain Sabertooth, or what's his name in English? There's a Norwegian, like a pirate that is really popular with kids. That one is just going on repeat inside the helmet. But I think that is just.
Could you sing it again?
No.
No.
I only sing in the shower, and I'm extremely well at it, but I don't sing on open microphone.
Okay, but that comes as well. I think it's a third day rule on that as well.
Yeah.
So if you're singing in the mic for everyone 3 days.
But I think, a little bit back to what we talked about. But Runa's question is quite good, to be honest, and I think do we think it's more inconvenient for us to be direct or rude, or is it more a thing in our own head, or is it if you let somebody down, we are thinking that we let them down in a way, but they are probably not that, how to say it, offended by being turned down, or maybe they are used to getting turned down, or this is how they get into knowing new friends and whatnot. And I think being direct and just say it as it is and say, no, this not, or you smell funny, I can't travel with you, it's not the way I go, and or something. I'm not sure.
Shouldn't upset people.
Yeah, but if you,
one thing that I thought about before this,
I'm a little bit I'm not gonna let this go, because if I offend you, the problem is on you, not on me. If I say something that hurts your feelings because you have some sort of trauma or something you're insecure of or not, it's not necessarily rude of me telling you, but it is your way of getting that message that is deceived right or wrong, or how do you want to say it?
I think that's easy for us to understand, but that also connects to the thing that we're thinking about before this live, because we're three guys here. Is this different for male and female? How you feel about being alone, or how you interact with people, as you were into right now? I could just imagine if you go rude and you have a very pointy figure out there that are intruding your travel and so on. If you go rude, could that be worse for a female?
Yeah,
it's 2 meter long. Thomas is probably will get away being rude.
Yeah, but
it could trigger someone that is.
There's a difference on being rude and being direct, I think, also.
Oh yeah,
yes, definitely, because being direct is very correct. Everyone could be correct, but if you spin on it to be a little bit rude to get alone
but
again,
you can be rude without
interesting,
having the intention to be rude. if that makes sense. You can say something and you kind of slip the words or whatnot. But I do think it's much worse for girls.
I think all of us...
Because, you know, the adventure scene, I'm not going to patronize anyone or kind of put thoughts into other people's mind, but I see what's going on in society and I see a lot of the crap that goes on. And just imagine yourself being like Ichibus or Runa or what's the name, Tinka, or what's the name of the blonde Polish girl that rides around the world, and Kinga is the name.
Yeah.
Imagine how many uncomfortable messages, pictures, and lead on things they would get every year, and how unsafe and insecure that would felt for me. And I've actually experienced that myself. I was in a camp spot and all of a sudden a guy was there in the camp spot with me, and he just saw a story I put out on Instagram and he recognized the place, so he invited himself to come. And for the first time, I was a little bit angry because I felt it was so intrusive. I felt like, what the fuck are you doing here? It's kind of like my private zone. But then I kind of chill down.
Yeah.
But imagine being a girl, and if you're insecure, or a guy for that sake, you're insecure and you feel a little bit unsafe. And then all of a sudden a stranger is just right there next to you. And yeah, I think that would be crazy. Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting topic because I've also been into that people inviting themselves along the route, but from distance. But always writing before in that case, when you have followers, so to speak. And that's pretty good as well. So you just don't show up really because it may not be in the plan and so on. So that could be a tip. But I had something else on my mind as well here.
But for me, for you as well, Robert, I've been practicing martial art probably most of my adult life, like Steven Seagal. And that of course helps with the confidence to handle situation if they get bad. You get confident in your own self and what you are able to do and not do, and how you can kind of keep calm and have control in situations that are unsafe or get unsafe.
Yeah.
And that gives a level of confidence in situation that makes me not that insecure in a lot of stuff that others probably would feel more uncomfortable in. Do you feel the same, Robert?
Yeah, I can keep them at a distance, but if they get close, you can take over. We have different styles of martial arts, so that's now. But I guess that helps. But I'm not a tough guy anyway. I mean, it depends. But sure, it helps. It helps, sure, to become a little bit more secure.
I never think about in this way when I'm laying there alone in my tent or hammock in the woods, for example. I never ever think about martial arts. I could do it in a camping actually, because I'm an old boxer and taekwondo dude as well. So it could be more, if you're in a camping, you could get into that mood, but not in the forest. I think that a headlamp, a really strong and bright headlamp, is a very good way to have in your hammock or tent very close, both to look at what the heck is sound around you, the animal or whatever, breaking sticks, or if it's someone, it sounds like someone is walking and so on. Or just push it up into the face to someone if there is a situation. But that would never happen when you're alone in the woods, because that is the most safe place to be, if you ask me.
A lot of the things that happens in the forest is in your own head. And I thought we all heard ghost stories. We all heard stories about, and I've been there myself. I've been to places where I went to bed alone, and I heard people were coming and pitched a tent with the car, pitched a tent close to me and started doing kitchen stuff and making meals and whatnot. And I was opening the fly to go out to take a piss at the evening. It was dark, but it wasn't pitch dark. It was still. And there was nobody around. And I was just, what the fuck? There was no doubt I wasn't there alone. There was so much sound there. And I was really confused at the beginning. I'm sure I heard something, and if that was only in my head or it was something in the place. I come from an old Sami family here in Norway, so we believe in nature and spirits and whatnot. We are not religious in that regard, but we do feel that nature has more than we can explain. But I do think that after my last, because my mental health is getting worse every now and then, it's crazy how some sounds get pictured in my own mind. That is, you hear a sound and you think it's something much more worse than it actually is. It's kind of crazy how your mind can interpreting stuff that goes around you that really isn't there. And that has scared me shitless a couple of times, where I'm really standing in really fighting mode, but there's nothing there. But I was certain there was a guy inside my house, for example, and I was there with an axe in my hand, ready to fight, and there was nobody there. But I hear one. It's crazy. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, but you got yourself prepared at this. I could tell you that it's at least more than one night I have been sleeping with a knife on my chest, like this. And that has been in a very inconvenient places.
Yeah, so I think the scared is
But that's another story. That's not the normal... That is not really the normal situations where you are in the deep forest of Sweden, for example. But you could be in a situation...
But do imagine that...
as you say, you're not really alone.
Yeah, but do imagine that you are... For me, that is my normal. You have your normal. But for a guy or a girl that has a different standard or normal, that could be much more common for them to experience. And I do think that is a really hard question to answer in a good way, because we are all so individual different when it comes to this stuff. And I think that you just need to learn, and it's kind of like that therapy you go to you need to be in the environment in small. If you have a spider scare, if you put the spider in your hand every now and then and do it more and more often, that scare of the spider will go away. So you need to train yourself for being in the environment that you are scared of to become more confident. If that gives any... If you only camp 2 times a year...
Definitely. That's what we're speaking of here today, to being solo, or to appreciate the solitude.
But if you don't appreciate, how can you be more
when we are alone?
If you really like how can you train?
As you say, train.
How can you become better at it?
Yeah. Get beyond the 3rd day and you will see.
Yeah, that could be.
We call it lappsjuka in Sweden, and that is you get the far north illness, so to speak, lappsjuka. And that is what we say that many people from the town gets when they are getting out in the woods, as long as you don't have people around you. And this word is invented before social media and smartphones. So you couldn't lay there in your hammock and be social and have your friends digitally around. You were really alone at that time. And then people were talking about lappsjuka or the far away illness, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, we're
it's very normal for the human being to feel that.
Yeah,
and we should move on, I guess, a little bit.
Okay. What happens next year?
Yes, we now have we're in mid-December, then we have January, February,
March.
So a little bit more than 3 months that we have to just hold on, do whatever. But then my next sort of safety buoy, the next thing that I really look forward to is in March. The Adventure Motorcycle Expo.
I have one bad news for you guys. The Norwegian Motorcycle Expo in the first weekend in March are cancelled this year. I heard rumors, but it's cancelled. But the one in Sweden, Stockholm, from AGP Nordics is still on. So we're going there instead.
Yeah, and that develops for you out there that are listening to us here right now and later on.
Yep.
That ADV Expo, ADV Motorcycle Expo in Stockholm in March 7th to 9th or 8th to 9th. That will be a blast. And unfortunately, since the Norwegian one seems to be postponed, this makes this show even more interesting.
Yeah. A little Jim Beam. Yeah, but of course that it's still in March and still are really January and February are kind of 2 months that are. I'm going to spend a lot of time on my cabin, I think.
Yeah, but the motorcycle shows, the Swedish one that we visited, January, almost a year ago, the Oslo motorcycle show that was cancelled, but. To tell the truth, those are quite boring because we're into adventure motorcycling. We want to travel. We want exhibitors in the adventure scene and so on. And it's mostly guys in ties. And here's the latest Hayabusa, whatever, bike and some. Yeah. So what I'm really looking forward.
This will be about the adventure bikes and the outdoors and the skills and workshops around adventure riding.
And meet all the like-minded people and share experience and knowledge and all of that. So that, I'm really looking forward to that. And meet you guys again in real life and down a few beers and it will be great.
I can't wait to giggle in the bed again with Robert and just wee.
Yeah, it was scary the first time, but second time around.
Yeah, that will be great.
Right.
That's what she said.
So that will be great. What other plans do you have for upcoming year or for the winter season?
It will be the first year where us three actually go on a joint trip.
Yeah. But not in winter time.
Yeah.
It's summertime.
Sorry?
Not in winter time.
Yeah, but in the season.
The upcoming season. Motorcycle season, without a doubt. And I think I'm gonna
How cool is
force you guys to be much more away from home. Try to get you to do a little bit of uncomfortable trip all the way to Norway and maybe west coasts of Norway. That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So
I haven't really ridden a motorcycle in Norway yet, but
it could be time for you and me, Rob, to visit Thomas.
Yeah, I just haven't heard anything good about Norway.
No,
so
there's actually nothing good going on here. So
you're way off.
And we talked about the thing at inviting yourself on trips with others, and Robert just do I need to?
Well,
we need to put a nice route up to Thomas' cabin. You and me, Rob.
Oh, so now Matthias inviting himself with you on that trip. That is cool.
Yeah.
But you're allowed. You're a nice guy, Matthias. You are. Even if you doesn't always look like that, you are a really nice guy for the followers out there.
But I do have a big problem. It's in end of June. I have 3 things that are colliding, and I want to do them all. It's like having 3 Playboy bunnies there, but you can only do one.
It's like
that's good.
Yeah, it's.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
First big project, adventure ride that would be amazing to get done. We're working on getting there. Me and ski photograph / journalist who's really connected he works with selling articles and stuff like that. He started motorcycling, and now we're planning a trip together for production of journalism and videos to Texas, USA.
Howdy, mate.
How? Not mate.
No, that's Australia. Yeah, mate.
That would be just incredible to do. And at the same time, we have the Tenere Travel Trophy going from Denmark through Sweden up in Norway. I'm a Tenere guy. I need to be on Tenere Trophy at the same time. And I have a really good chance at getting to ABR Festival and even speak there. And that's the same weekend also. So I want to do all those three things, but we're three people. Maybe we can
do one thing. Yeah, I can go to the trophy, and Matthias could take ABR, and you can go to Texas.
Yeah, something like that.
I've been invited to the ABR before, so I think it was the first and second year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
now they got so large, so now they're aiming for Europe.
Yeah, they're aiming for the stars, the big shots. It's like that. Yeah.
They had
the rock star.
But this is late in the plan.
On that bombshell, because you become so large. You're not that large anymore, are you? What's going on with Robert Bulling?
This is about being solo as well.
Yeah, you gone deep, haven't you?
I had 84,000 subscribers, and this Tuesday I went back to 0. Most people know about that, I guess. It's many have noticed at least. No, it's as we spoke of earlier, we have the group Nomad Sweden, the 4 of us, and rode together, and I made all the videos, but sort of the channel was for Nomad Sweden, a boy band of 4 in a way. And as we mentioned, and we've been really good at having, as I mentioned before, sort of compromise between each other and having getting the trips done and let everyone do what they want, pretty much. But over the years, people change, and I'm getting more and more. I like to get muddy and dirty, and others in the team wants to get cleaner and so on. So we just said that maybe it's good if we go parted ways and you guys do.
So did I hear that you are going to be a dirty single?
Yep.
Yeah. Let that be known. I'm single again. No. So, and with all that, we decided not to ride anymore and so on. But then everyone has their sort of connection to the channel and feeling of this is our thing together and so on. And it didn't really work out with me doing all that 100% myself and so on. I didn't feel free to do what I want, because I want to give gas 100%.
But it also free yourself from commitment to the other, so you can do more personal branding, personal commitment, sort of sponsor deals and whatnot. So you are much more free to do whatever you like, actually, going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So and that was to sort of on the scale. It was always much heavier on the side where we had revenue and 84,000 subscribers, and on the other hand a bit more freedom. But over sort of the time now, the latest, I felt that just becoming 100% free. And then I got to really listen to a really good podcast that Scandiflick YouTube channel there sent me. Listen to this, and it was all about how change and putting up blocks and so on that forces you to take new routes and not just continue doing what you do.
Yeah, and I think that is a good way of becoming a better better in your craft or better expresser or storyteller or what you want to call it, because I always try to be a beginner at something. If it's drawing, if it's playing an instrument or whatnot, if you're stuck in the creative space you are at the moment, if you try to be a beginner in something completely different, then everything just opens up in a new way. And I think that now for and I know you personally, and we talk a lot off the screen, and the way your creative mind works better when you are free to just expand it and do whatever. And I think the things you have done now is wise. It's really good for both you and everyone.
Yeah, and
that was what I was thinking as well. A lot more creativeness from Rob here. Just release Rob.
And doing scary things is what we do. We go on adventures and we do risky things and we feel alive. And just dumping that successful YouTube channel and I've seen that from the comments. Why? I've been struggling to get 2,000 subscribers now for years, and you take your 84,000 and just dump it. But why would you do that?
But I think that is.
But it's the only that was the only way.
No, but still, I think that is a really good point as well, because it's not about the numbers. It's not about the amount of subscribers, because there can be a lot of shell subscribers that are just supporting you because of one videos. The core audience, the core people that really loves you for what you are, what you do, and whatnot. It's so much more, because, like you said in that thing you had on Auduro. I don't look at myself as an influencer or a creator. I see myself as an inspirator, to inspire others to get out there. And if I can only inspire one guy or girl to do what I do, I win.
Can we stay on this call just for a few minutes more? Because I have, let's see, 9,900.
Ooh, yes.
Almost 10,000.
So then I could tell you a little bit what I'm going to do this season.
Yes, Matthias, it's your turn.
While we're waiting for 2 more, Rob. 2 more.
2 more.
Yeah, I will just chill. No adventure, no cabin videoing, unfortunately. But I will do some changes on my bike this winter, and that will be really nice. It will lose some weight and. Not much, but a little, and I will improve some stuff on my bike during this winter. That's mainly what I will do before we meet again until March.
Yeah.
Give me focus.
Hey! Congratulations!
Oh, yes. Ooh.
10,000.
Cheers, Rob. That's awesome.
Cheers.
That's awesome. Since Tuesday.
2 days, 3 days.
Cheers, Rob.
Tuesday, yes. It's been since Tuesday, 5 days. So it's been they just
I feel
rushed over.
I feel kind of silly just talking about it's not about the numbers, and we celebrate you getting 10,000.
but
it's
I
so
will
great.
I will not catch up to the old numbers, but it's great to feel that you have support, because from those 80,000 subscribers, there were Turkish people watching the Turkish movie. Let's subscribe. And so what I have now is 10,000 core followers.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is a lot.
That's follow you, Rob.
That actually likes sort of my worst sides, not only the cherries that I produce sometimes.
But back to Matthias.
That's
you
awesome.
talked about there will be some changes to your bike, but what else is going on? Will you still continue doing van life and your boat and whatnot, or do you have other plans?
Oh, you could understand that a motorcycle and a boat, they are definitely competing on the same time of the year. Yeah. But that will be fixed. You know, we have our common vacation time with me and Bibi. Of course, that will be like a boat trip along probably the west coast, or we go deep into the channels and lakes again that we did a few years ago. But other than that, a lot of riding. I don't know. I actually don't know because I mix something on my channel. You know, sometimes I go with the van and sometimes I go with the boat and sometimes I go with the bike. And people seems to, the worst thing is when I'm hunting. You know, I lose subscribers directly if I go hunting.
Yeah, don't shoot the animals.
That's so interesting.
That's cruel.
No.
That's only the
really
vegan subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I respect them as well, as long as they only are vegan and not buy their meat in plastic.
You know, I have a hard time respecting vegans. It has to be said. I have a hard time respecting vegans because they are so full of themselves. They're not respecting us that eat animals. And I think that probably somebody choose to eat more vegetables than others, but there's a lot of extremists.
I have seen your broccoli at your adventure rides, Chomi.
Yeah,
so yeah, pretty interesting. I use my egg and bacon and some onion in it, and you go broccoli.
Yeah.
So a little bit. no, but that's interesting.
I will skin a rabbit in my next cabin video. Just for fun.
Yeah, and of course, I will do a lot of winter travels with my van. I don't know if I'm going to video it or not, because I tend to not do the lately. I do a lot of van life, but I do not video it. It's my going on vacation thing, no camera.
Yeah, I think that is good as well to have that you're only yourself. Yeah. But even if I'm really into van lifing myself, I think it's a good niche and I think it's a good thing. But maybe it doesn't mix so well with the other stuff you do. But of course, I've been a fan of your channel since the beginning, and yeah, it's interesting to see how. If I as well feel like our channels are going so far and there's so much happening that what happens and what happens, it's really out of our control in a way. It's just jump on and grab on and see where it leads us. And I think that is a little bit of part of the fun.
I have never been too worried about that. I just do what I do and do it my way. And something like that.
Oh, I have to say that I was so damn scared putting out cabin videos on my channel because I thought I would fuck up everything, and because I built up a trusty motorcycle community and whatnot. And to see
it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy how well that has gone and how many people that appreciate that as well. And I think the mix of content has been good for me and my video style. And I think it's I think I'm much more an advocate for doing what you like to do and what you feel passionate about, because that shines through.
Of course.
You have an X factor there. You just see that you are in the good mood and people can feel
everyone see that you loves it. The best thing would be like off season in Scandinavia was to go to warmer countries with your bike, of course. But if you don't do that, you have to do something. And would you kill your YouTube channel or only do garage stuff during the winter? I think the cabin stuff is wonderful to watch, and you do it so good.
Yeah, and I think if I had the money and if I had enough free time, I would spend more time down in the south, because it doesn't give me any satisfaction to ride in Spain in the middle of summer because there's 40 degrees down there, or in Greece for that matter. No. So, but I really wish I had more time in the winter time to ride motorcycle, but I don't. So I do the best of it. But still,
now we're talking about something interesting here. We should go to Enduro Greece with Steve. The three of us.
Thanks for mentioning that, because I spoke to Steve yesterday. 22 degrees, loving it. Hello, Malakas. And
wouldn't that be a treat for us?
And now he's got a new job down there in Greece. So he has to work for his money now. And it was BMW that called and said, we're doing a road show with all the brand new BMWs, the 1300s, the 900s, and so on. They come with trailers full of bikes. 20 bikes, and they're going to do a road show and have tours and everything. But there was one problem. They must have 600 kilometers on the odometer, on each and every bike before they can do the tours because of some law.
Oh.
They cannot put 0 mileage bikes out there. So Steve's new job down in Greece now is to take these...
Is to making miles or kilometers.
20 BMW bikes, and they each need to have 600 kilometers. So he's just riding around.
They need help.
Full payment.
That's
and
insane.
He just swears
that possibilities. You just plump. Mindfuck.
And he hates them.
Maybe he needs help.
Yeah, and he really hates to ride a motorcycle as well.
Yeah, but the BMWs, it's sort of danger zone indicators on the rearview mirrors and central locking for the top box, and there's
there's some and a mohawk and a moustache, and he just
guys. If we're going back to the topic here, being alone or solitude, wintertime, that's not a good idea. In wintertime, in this darkness up here and so on, we pretty much need to go in a social trip down there to Greece or something.
Yeah, we should do that mental
the winter time and solitude is not really not for anyone, I think.
On that bombshell,
we're pushing
the clock, we're pushing the time. People are probably bored as hell out of listening to us talking. And it's always fun to see how many people that actually tunes in, and I really appreciate it. But I more than anything, I appreciate sitting down, just having a blast with you two guys. I absolutely love it. And we should do it.
Same here.
We should do it more, and we try to do it more, and
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the next topic. Please comment in the comments below what next topic should be. I have seen a lot of in the chat about wishes for the topics. So we need to read up about that.
Yeah, and we try to meet you guys and what you want, because it's just a part of us trying to answer questions you might have, and we think it's good to give back to you guys. So yeah, that's good.
Maybe just a Q&A.
Yeah, that could be. I scribble down something on my paper, and let's see what we can make of it in the next couple of weeks. But not before the new year. Christmas first.
Yeah.
Okay, I do the honors. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you so much for following Robert and his new channel, and for be patient with Matthias. He will be back there doing some really Brabham camping, and we talk again really soon. See you.
Look